Welcome to Bitcoin Live. Today with me in the show is Victoria Citro. Welcome to Bitcoin Live on the Sunday.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
It's my pleasure to have you. You're an amazing artist. We just saw an intro from your YouTube channel. You got some really cool clips on there. We're gonna play some more of those and also some stuff from your Twitter feed. But before we do that, can you sort of introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, I'm Victoria. I'm from Argentina. I've been doing arts like formally for almost 10 years, and I joined like the NFT community in the quarantine time, and since that, my art career go like in a different way. I keep doing like my same content, my same vision of art, but I found like in space that I didn't have in galleries, in real life events. Like I find my crew, my DJ crew. I guess.
And yeah, well, that's of course super important for people to get some context. But how did you sort of start with NFTs specifically?
Well, I started because a friend. Well, I was in the quarantine and I was doing a lot of TikTok art because in quarantine was super hard for artists to keep like I used to paint murals. Painting murals on quarantine is not a thing.
Yeah,
So I was locked down in my home in Argentina, and one of my friends he told me like, "You're losing your time on TikTok. You should join NFTs." And I was like, "What is an NFT?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And started saying like, "Yes, crypto, Ethereum, Bitcoin," and I was like, "What? Like I gonna like I knew a bit about Bitcoin, but I wasn't aware. I was like, oh, this is like cryptocurrency. You can in some places you can purchase things, but I was like completely, like not aware of anything about like the crypto space, the nothing. So for me, was everything new. I start to uh, doing research. I did a lot of research in YouTube, in most of Twitter, X now, but like reading a lot because everything for me was like, okay, I click here. How do I buy crypto? Was my first thing because to mint, to mint a NFT, you have to mint it with crypto. So I was like asking my friend for him, like, how can I buy crypto? Like, how do I need a credit card? Like, what is a wallet? It was, like starting something completely new.
yeah, it was not easy, right? Especially in the beginning. But I think
No.
but you got in a good moment, right? That was sort of just the previous NFT wave that happened.
Yes.
So you managed to sort of ride that wave up, or
Yeah. For me, it was like that was like the beginning, like super like a
yeah,
good time, for NFTs. And then I start to learn about like the bear market and how does affect that also to the NFT market because it's all related, of course. So for me, it was like, oh, I used to have this amount in Ethereum, and suddenly the other day it was like I got nothing and no sales, and I was like, I need to learn so much about this.
yeah, the bear market
But
was really brutal, right?
yeah, bear market la- last year. Uh, I keep pushing, I never stop like posting my art or but I quit, like minting so many work. I try to keep the old works I had and try to push in that direction, but I keep joining, the spaces in X and
Yeah,
doing the I went to the NFT New York last year. This year I couldn't make it and went to Lisbon. They had also like a summit thing, like a lot of crypto artists, NFT Paris. So it was bear market, but for me it was really like a time to keep growing with my art and pushing into NFTs. I never stopped believe like this was like a safe way for artists to have a space, because even people say like NFTs are dead. I think it's different kind of point of view, because yes, maybe like Bored Apes and big projects like that drop the prices, and people say like, oh, this is not a good investment. But I always went with one-on-one art pieces, that is a different market for artists and collectors. And now is everything is pumping back, so
Yeah.
it's like kind of a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, that's definitely crypto. And recently you've been to Dubai. How was that?
Yes, that was actually was in 2022. Yes, was right after, like the first year after uh, they opened the borders. So I got selected for Art World Dubai, also for my crypto art. And I was like, I can't believe like with my art I make it in these kind of places, because I started like selling my art on the streets. I moved to Spain and I was like determined to live only doing arts, and I started like that. Like I was selling in art fairs, art markets, and suddenly when I started with NFTs, I got like these big opportunities, like Paris, Dubai, New York, Miami, and for me it was like I, I can't believe at this time that that happened to me, because I'm from a super small town in Argentina. Um, Most people from my city is they have a lot of culture for arts, but it's more like, like they do for this town, and they paint landscape and things related from here, Jujuy, my town, and they don't go abroad so much. So for me, it was like
Yeah, it was a
crazy
grand
experience.
opportunity. And then,
Yes.
like I said, you're an amazing artist. I wonder, do you have like a photographic memory for those cityscapes that you make?
I got, I don't know if most of my memory is photographic, because when I, asking for a direction, or I remember something, I forgot the names or the dates. But if I saw something, it's like I can tell you the color of the T-shirt, the logo, like everything. And
Wow.
with cities, for me, it's like I make like I take reference from a photo, and after that I just complete the lines, because I started, like doing like the photo in a side and drawing in the other side. And after that I was like, okay, like the photo I take the basic, buildings or the iconic things, and the rest was from my memory. So
Wow.
it are not perfect. So
Yeah, no. I know some people that can sort of, take one glance and then they can reproduce these amazing pictures. And but I think what you're doing is like really amazing too. Let's do another clip. This one I really like.
yes, that was from the one who was selected for Paris, NFT Paris.
Wow, that's amazing, really. So are these like actually completely accurate, or are they sort of close to the original sort of picture of Paris?
Yeah, that one is really like similar to original picture.
Wow,
Yes.
that's wow. And what is your sort of your goal with art, and then how did you get started making these pictures? I mean, what inspired you to make these cityscapes?
Uh, the cityscapes started when I started traveling. I started traveling and drawing the places I was like visiting, and was one of my friends who asked me like, "Can you draw that city that is really important for me? I'm from there," and I was in the middle of a travel. I have like a notebook, like a really small one, and I started to create cities like that. And then my other friends saw the pictures and was like, "Oh, I want one like that." And for me, it was like really like a, I would say, like when I do these kind of drawings, like really detailed, for me it's like kind of therapy because I only think, like I'm drawing and making the next detail. Is it gets like a chaos. That's what I titled like a collection like chaos cities because a lot of details looks like a chaos, but I think it's the order in the end.
Yeah, it started
So
off
it's
like scribbly lines, and then a city emerges from the chaos. Because that was my
mhm.
second question. Why do you call it chaos cities? Because they look quite orderly, actually. Uh,
Yes, it's like they look, but if you look like you have to look like in the details. When you see like maybe like a first impression of a city, there are like so many buildings together, or the kind of perspective they are built is kind of like a chaos, but in the chaos you find the order. And I got like that first ideas when I was, I was like super like really a child, and I went like top of a building, and I saw like the city's first time, from that point of view. And it's different because you're always like walking into places, but you walk, at, at the level of the buildings. But when you go up, you get to see like different point of views, and I think like that's what can change like everything in life and everything, like
yeah,
seeing things from different point of views.
yeah, there's an incredible amount of detail. And do you have like a favorite city that you like
A,
to?
a favorite city for me to draw, I draw a lot of New York. I find it like super uh, amazing city for draw because you have like this kind of first skyscrapers or maybe like more old buildings between the new ones. And I also liked a lot drawing Rome uh, because like the architecture for Renaissance and the detail they have even in the doors, because I travel a lot and take pictures for everything in Europe, and you can see like they have details building in each part of windows, or it's really crazy.
And do
And
you have
yeah,
like a favorite architecture style that you like to draw?
an architecture style. Uh, Basically, uh, I love uh, all the things like is more contemporary,
Hmm.
but I love the Renaissance. All art the was built in Renaissance for me. Is, even with paintings, I is so different from all the Baroque style and all the artist creation before Renaissance for me, because I studied like a lot when I studied like art and things, and see all the progress, and then you have this break, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was really beautiful.
that's really beautiful. One of my favorites is Art Nouveau. I like sort of that style of the Art Nouveau period, like in the 20s. And
Yes, because I don't know, like I think like each period have their own magic or their own, but like Art Deco in Miami is also super cool and super fascinated to study, or modern currents and or the Bauhaus after in Germany. So you have so many things in art that
true.
sometimes you never stop learning
Oh,
different
that's
stuff.
definitely true. And then, you know, talking about, I mean, your background is in Argentina. Can you tell us a little bit about your country, and maybe also a little bit about architecture there? Because do you also make paintings or drawings in this case of Argentina?
Yes, I did. Well, one of the no was it wasn't the first, but was uh, one I thought has to be the must was the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires. They have really interesting architecture because the city was built between a golden era for Argentina. So there was like a lot of money here, and they created like beautiful, huge avenues, Paris style buildings. Was really an investment for a capital of the city, and still now, still this day, you can walk in Buenos Aires and feel you are like in the street of Paris, between Paris and Italy, and it's really like an amazing city. Now is like everything changed, but you still see like this European style in every place.
Yeah, I think I saw one interview of Milei, and he sort of made the comment that you got these two different distinct styles in Argentina. You know, like the old flavor, which is like very sort of European, Renaissance classical style, and then you got a new Argentina, which is very sort of monumental, big, and kind of sort of not his style. So, do you sort of agree with him, or and what are your views on Milei?
Yes, it has like he say at least in Buenos Aires, because in the other cities are smaller, like it's not the capital. We still have like new buildings, but all the structure of the cities are basically like the structure from Spanish conquer when they conquist Argentina. They build like the church, the house, everything around the plaza in the center. So that is in every city. And about Milei, he he's like the libertario here, like the new president, and I think he had the right point about that, because in Argentina we have that mix about like things from European culture and our culture that is a mix. Like for immigrant people, I think this nation was built for almost like uh, immigrants that came here. So we are not like we are like I know, not like United States, but we have a lot of like people, and we don't have like problems with different cultures. My family is a mix from Syria and Italy and Spain. So, and we have in Argentina the community that is Lebanon and Syria. That is, people get here and say like, how can that come be possible? Because Syria and Lebanon, they have a big problems, but here the communities, like they are together. So that's what I think like is cool about Argentina. We're like no
So
problem with that.
it's sort of like a big melting pot of different cultures and influences, and that makes it really special. Also, all these different cultural flavors, and actually everybody sort of living together and working together. It's one of the countries I haven't been yet, so I would love to go there at some point. I also heard that they have like amazing beef steaks.
Yes, the best.
The best in the world. Yeah. And now they have Milei, right? So what is your take that he's often portrayed in Western media as a lunatic, as a dangerous figure? What is your view on those portrayals?
Well, the thing is like he's not a lunatic. Like I think like in Argentina we spent almost 20 years in a government that was like for me was more like a totalist
Mm,
government, because they prayed or they preached, they were like in a way like we care about people, we give like plants or we give like food to poor people, but wasn't real. They only kept the money for themselves, for a small group of politicians, and they keep like cutting our rights. Like the economy, I think was like the third in the world, like close economy, because we can, like bring things for abroad. Was was really like hard to live here because everything has to be, like according to the government, and that's not democracy, I think. So it was
No.
like 20 years of different kind of switch between, like the president was one guy, then was he his wife, and all between the family, and they have the worst corruption indices in the world, like the amount of money that they took from the people. So I think like Milei was like something radical that the country need to make a change, because if we're going for soft changes, wouldn't we keep in the same direction that was super like down. like
And it's
like
very hopeful that the people in Argentina finally decided to do it totally differently and pick a libertarian president. And I just saw today that in Brazil they also have this same problem as what you probably had in Argentina with the president or the Supreme Court banning people from using Twitter, and then Elon Musk sort of said like we're not going to do that. So what do you think is sort of the problem in Latin America? I mean, why is Latin America always sort of hit so hard by these kind of
I
dictators?
I think because like from the beginning, like I don't know much about like politics, but what I saw is like people didn't get the idea of what is like good for, like growing as a society. They were like trying to reach the position in power to get a lot of money for them, and created this kind of feudos when they got uh, put into work because there wasn't working, like uh, seven secretaries for one person,
Yeah,
and they were like all family related, and they were getting rich and richer. Like corruption, I think, is the thing, like the worst thing they have in Latin America.
yeah,
Like
it's
they
probably also outside influence, right? American influence on politics, domestic politics in those countries. And before we move back to your art, because that's why you're here, I have one more question. Is or actually two more. First of all, is what is the view on El Salvador in your country, and maybe because you're now located in Spain, of course, but also in Argentina. How do they look at Bukele and what he's doing there?
here.
Yeah, and in your home, in your birth country of birth.
They have like mixed like point of views, because the people say like what is doing like is really bad, and other people say like no, what is doing is really good. Like they have like really strong like different point of view, so it's divided, a lot of division in that kind of things, like
So it's
even in
kind
the
of
news.
you either love him or hate him.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That is a divisive figure. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then the other question that I had is like, how is Bitcoin adoption in Argentina at the moment? Are there a lot of Bitcoin ATMs, or I think I kind of lost you there for a second. Yeah, the connection seems okay, but I did lose you. So yeah, I think you can, if you can hear me, you can jump out and back in if you can, and I'll play another clip while you're doing that. So let's see. I'm gonna do this one. Let's see.
Vamos a dibujarla con el mismo nivel de detalle que la dibujé yo. Bueno, primero, ¿qué necesitamos? Microfibras. Las que recomiendo son las Piscini. En Argentina se consiguen, son un poco más caras que otras. Y estos son los principales grosores con los que necesitamos. 005, 01, 02 y 03. Para empezar yo trazo líneas en lápiz, pero súper sutil con las figuras principales, que sería como los edificios más emblemáticos. No se vuelvan locos, siempre hay que trabajar a partir de una imagen, o así es como trabajo yo. A partir de la imagen que tomé, destaco cuáles serían los edificios más emblemáticos o carteles o avenidas que representen más esa ciudad. Cuando los tengo identificados, los marco en lo que sería todo el trabajo, en el pliego de hoja que vayamos a trabajar. Yo en este caso estoy trabajando en una A2, pero estoy dejando unos márgenes blancos como si fuera un passepartout de por lo menos 7 centímetros por lado. Eso depende del gusto de cada uno. Como son miniaturas los trabajos que les voy a enseñar a hacer, yo recomiendo que nos enfoquemos en un espacio bastante pequeño para poder enfocarnos en hacer bien los detalles. Principalmente acá, como pueden ver, yo lo que uso es una tarjeta en vez de una regla. Una tarjeta ya sea del subte, del transporte, cualquiera que no tenga los números con relieve, porque eso te va a arruinar, te la va a ensuciar a la hoja y demás. Si algunos se sienten más cómodos con esas escuadras pequeñitas que vienen o reglas pequeñitas, fantástico. Pero lo que yo recomiendo siempre son las tarjetas o bueno, las reglas como venden, pero pequeñitas, porque necesitamos hacer ángulos muy chiquitos y más que nada una regla grande tiene el problema de que te ensucia la hoja cuando vas corriendo el dibujo, más si trazaste algo con lápiz o si la tinta de tu lapicera, en este caso microfibra, está todavía fresca y al pasarle la regla se te va a correr todo y te va a quedar espantoso. Así que bueno, acá me ven haciendo los pequeños detalles de las ventanas de un edificio. Yo lo que primero hago es marcar las líneas de contorno de los edificios y en eso es lo que más que nada uso las tarjetas. Después para hacer las ventanas, los pequeños detalles que son los que más se denota, digamos, la perfección de cada trazo. Yo la verdad que en algunos casos uso la regla o la tarjeta y en otros casos directamente los hago a hojaldre. Y esto va a depender de también cómo querés que quede el estilo de tu dibujo. Como artista hay muchos que buscan la perfección en sus trabajos y para mí más que perfección se trata de un punto de vista o de lo que queramos comunicar. Por eso yo me enfoco más no en tanto buscar que sea perfecto, sino que comuniquemos nuestro estilo, nuestra impronta, que le pongamos algo nuestro, algo que muchas personas piensan que estás copiando una foto cuando no lo es. Así que bueno, eso sería un detalle. Y bueno, después para ir haciendo todos estos pequeños detalles, como recomiendo siempre desde el principio, primero los edificios emblemáticos y después las calles, avenidas, las ventanas, los carteles. Hay muchas ciudades que tienen cartelería, así que es importante destacar. Y después es importantísimo que cuando hagamos los sombreados que tengan que ver con volúmenes, para representar a lo que está más en el fondo o más cerca a nuestro la foto, lo que queramos destacar una profundidad, yo recomiendo que usen alguna de estas microfibras que tengan, pero con la punta muy gastada y la usen de lado. No sé si acá se ve que no las estoy usando completamente perpendicular, aquí palabra más difícil, sino que las hago como un rayado de la...
Hey, we're back.
I'm back.
Sorry, that sometimes happens. That's that's the benefit of doing a live stream. That you sometimes have a technical issue. So, luckily, you got a lot of amazing content on your YouTube channel. So, for people who don't know yet, subscribe to Victoria's YouTube. It's really awesome. You post a lot of great content on there. I really like how you can sort of see the artwork come into existence, the way you do it. Also on your Twitter feed, by the way. And of course, follow Victoria on her Twitter feed, which is Victoria Citro. I'll put it up here. And you also post a lot of amazing content on there, like this one. I also noticed that you managed to sell a lot of your work, right? We already sort of touched upon that, and you sort of said like even though there was a bear market, you actually did pretty well. You went to different places, but I noticed on your timeline that you're actually selling, I think, every work that you make.
My dog is here. Yes, like the thing is like with the artworks, even in bear market, I try to find like a way like I can give you like an extra value from each collector. So that's why I always like trying to do like something extra or something custom or personalized for each collector that is joining my art trip, because I feel like it's really nice when someone appreciates your art, because it's like joining your point of view, your trip in this life. And for me, it's really nice to give like something extra. That's why I always have this kind of offer that I say, if you collect 2 of my pieces, you get like a custom item that can be from your city, or maybe if you don't like, like architectural stuff, I can do like a portrait of your dog or your cat. So for me, it's important to give people that support you like something valuable beside the art that they already collected.
So you really have like a personal connection to your collectors, right? So you really try to personalize that connection.
Yes, for me, yes, because for me it's like things happen for a reason, and if someone like resonate with your art, or with, can be like you're creating art in music or wherever, but if it resonate with you, it's something you have to consider is happen for a reason. It's not like random.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you actually also did a commissioned work, this one, which I really like. I like anime, and I saw you make this one. Can you tell us a little bit about this particular project?
Yes, because of course I'm a huge fan of anime. That's one of the reasons I started drawing with, was because anime.
Oh,
I was a huge fan of Dragon Ball when I was a kid. Even
me
like
too.
people say it was like, that is not for girls. You you can like watching Dragon Ball Z or all the animes were for me so much fun or interesting, like because the difference in anime and other like cartoons was, in anime you get like the story, and other cartoons you get like different chapters, and they are like close in each chapter that doesn't have a relationship between. So I was the thing of waiting to the next Friday to see the next episode of Dragon Ball and what's gonna happen, and was my childhood. So that's why I started drawing. I started
Yeah,
drawing like
that was
anime
sort of
basically.
like a running soap, right? Did you also have like a favorite personality from the Dragon Ball series? Was it Goku?
For draw, I always I like Vegeta, because he was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was the bad guy, but he turned into good, and he was so much fun because he was angry all the time. So
Yeah.
was one of my favorites.
I actually also made some drawings. Do you want to see one?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
I've never done this before, so this is kind of cool. Okay. I didn't NFT it for the people, but this is one of my drawings. This is actually Garlic Junior from one
Yes,
saga.
so cool.
I sort of made like one page from a comic, and that's about it. And I wanted to do a whole comic, but yeah, and I did this one,
Oh,
and
really cool.
of course a dragon, right? So yeah.
Whoa,
But anyway,
we're quite an artist also.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take that as a big compliment. So yeah, I used to draw a lot till my sort of my early 20s, and then I got sidetracked with my study and stuff. So I didn't do much after that. But I used to love doing pen drawings like yours. Only you're I can't do cityscapes like you do. Those they're really amazing. So
Yes, it's fun because all started, with anime. I wanted to write comics because I always liked the stories and everything, and that was basically how I started, like drawing and writing. My
yeah,
dog is here.
well, I think you should do like a comic. That would be really cool.
Yes,
And you can NFT,
yes,
right?
yes. That's what is like the next project I'm working, but it's taking me a lot of time, and I'm planning to use like EA to help me because it's a lot of work to creating a comic, and they correct my grammar for the dialogues and everything. But I think it would be cool. That's why I started, like now with the different cityscapes, like from portal for other dimensions that are gonna be related to the comic that writing.
Cool. So it's not just an idea. You're already working on it.
Hmm. Yes,
Can
but
you,
it's a lot of work.
can you sort of give us some hints about the project? Like you mentioned futuristic cityscapes. So what is the comic about? Or do you don't?
The comic about started with this idea that I had, like I've been writing this from a lot of time, but now I getting like back to fix all the history, and is the idea of what happened if the world it ended blind, like what happened if all people in the world lost their vision,
Oh,
because I think we live in this era that we are like visual for everything, like we depend so much about what we can see, or we trust in what we can see. We give like the vision, like all the trust. And now you're seeing with AI, like
yeah.
they can create like videos or photos and can look like real. And how do you difference if they are like real people or that happen? And people is trusting that because we trust what we see basically.
Yeah, it would
So
be a big
this,
problem for AI, right? If people stopped being able to see, then it would lose a lot of leverage over people.
yes, it's like a crazy idea that, and a question that I always had, like we depend so much of our image also for everything, like we trust more in people that is well looking. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. Well, and you got sort of an interest in because it sort of reminds me about the question. By the way, I love dogs. My brother is.
Yes, this is a dog house, so they
I
are
can,
all around the house, barking.
you got a lot of
So
dogs. What kind
I
of dogs do
have
you have?
I have 10 dogs.
10 dogs.
Like,
Wow,
yes,
wow,
I
wow.
have pugs, and the others are like boxers, and they are like all around the house.
Nice, nice. Yeah, but once they start barking, then they all start barking, of course.
Yes, they sing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you sort of talked about the comic and people losing their sight as sort of the theme of the comic, which kind of reminds me of what you said. You did this tweet about Plato, right? And people being stuck in the cave. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so do you also sort of
Yes.
mix in some philosophy into your stories? Because it's sort of like a thought experiment that you propose.
Yeah. Yes. I'm mixing a lot of like philosophy. I read like a lot of books. I kind of like nerd like about reading, and that's why like one of my favorite also animes was Psychopath. I don't know if you check that one, and
Yeah,
they are also like questioning a lot from different kind of philosophers like ideas, and they mix that with cybersecurity and the problems of today and the future, because it's also futuristic anime.
so so then you probably also know Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yes, yes, of
Yeah.
course.
it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I think sort of the future that we're moving towards is very much like, you know, the anime, or
Yes.
perhaps even more like the manga of Ghost in the Shell, right? That our brains can be hacked, and that you have to have cybersecurity in your mind, and all that kind of crazy stuff that is, you know, just
Yes,
around.
it sound crazy, but now they have like the first things that can recover your vision, like was Elon Musk project about
Yeah,
the microchip.
the Neuralink.
So, so it's not so far.
Yeah.
That reality.
So, what is your take on that reality that we're moving towards? Do you think it's like something good or bad or neutral, or, you know, or how do you see it?
I think like, or I hope that is good, because we as humans, we a lot of things like there's like more bad in the world, but I think it's not, because it's just something like media or other things want to make you believe. But in the end, I think like if we get our difference, like on the side, we can create like great things. And web 3, I think it proved like we can connect with people from different culture, different religion, politics, and with art is like the evidence of that. Because with web 3, I get connected with people, from India, from Japan, from Russia, from every place of the world, and we have a lot of things in common. So it's something like super like.
That's really amazing. And
And
also, if you're an artist, you know, you get immediate feedback, and you can sort of create something for somebody on demand, and you can learn a lot from other artists, and artists can support each other directly, right? I mean, it's really sort of revolutionary. And, you know, with crypto and blockchain, you can immediately get a payment from across the world in a currency that they cannot block or censor. So do you own a lot of currency? I mean, you don't have to say how much you own, but do you have, I mean, the different kind of crypto? Do you have like different kinds of cryptos?
yes, I learn a bit. I'm not like a trader expert or nothing like that. I'm more like to stack or hold like different kind of, I have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and some meme coins sometimes, just for
Yeah,
fun.
Dogecoin
But
and Shiba. Yeah, yeah, the usual stuff. Yeah, yeah, me too. Over the time, actually, my meme coin collection has grown quite a bit. Yeah. Yeah. So and do you hope sort of that Bitcoin will that the adoption will grow, and how do you see that going? Like, do you think you know, it's just around the corner, or that it will take a long time? And do you think it will, you know, the revolution will be successful, or do you think big corporations will take over? Well, what is sort of your take on about what's happening with crypto?
I don't know much, but I think it would be like the easier way to get the transaction and get like a coin, like for payment and for everything. Like a bank transfer from a place to another, you need like 5 different codes, different kind of operation. Uh, for me, it's like this big corporation and government want to like stop the Bitcoin and everything, because it will be like the decentralization, and they want to control. So I think
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a push back and forward, but in the end, I think crypto is gonna be the normal
yeah,
for
that is
what I
unstoppable.
think.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really good for artists like yourself. You know, artists from all around the world. Yeah, also, you know, in countries that are difficult to, you know, get to, right? Indonesia, but also, you know, Argentina, right, all over the place. Even though you're not located there right now, but it, you know, makes payments super easy. Otherwise, you also have those fees that you have to pay off your transactions, and it takes forever to get them. But yeah, yeah, you know, everybody who's watching, check out your YouTube channel. That's really cool. It's from Victoria Citro. also your Twitter handle. But before you let you go, is there anything that you sort of want to share, that you want to highlight, that we sort of missed out, during the conversation?
For me, I think like the space for the community is like the NFT community is what we can invite other artists to get this, like experience, because it's not for all. A lot of artists that don't want to have this kind of, like be on web or sharing, but I think it's like a good experience for all artists. So invite them to experience this different kind of, like way of seeing art. They can get like chances that maybe like me never imagined to have, and it can happen only having internet connection. So it's crazy.
That is true. Yeah, that's a condition, like a
That's what
requirement.
you only need: internet connection and creativity, and you can be here or in Japan, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then of course connect to Twitter, Twitter. That's the easiest place to sort of meet everybody. But there's more and more places that you can do that. And yeah, well, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I really enjoyed talking to you. And I would love to have you back in the future. So when you have that comic, you're welcome to come back on and talk about it and show it. Yeah, I wish you a really amazing
It will
time.
be amazing. Yeah, it was really good. And sorry about my problems in internet connection, but we having like problems with the Wi-Fi and
That's
everything.
no problem. That happens all the time. So
Okay.
yeah, I thank you for coming on, and for everybody watching. Give this video a like if you haven't. Follow us and follow Victoria, of course. And yeah, we hope to see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.